The alarms were silent. That was the first sign something was wrong. Inside ADX Florence, the most secure prison in America, silence was never normal. There was always a low hum. Doors locking, cameras turning, guards walking, machines breathing. But on this night, deep inside the concrete walls, everything stopped. In cell D17, an inmate lay motionless on the floor. His name was Marcus Hale. He was supposed to be alive. The camera watching his cell showed nothing moving. No blinking. No breathing. Just a still body under harsh white light. A red error symbol flashed on the monitor in the control room. One guard leaned closer to the screen. Another guard whispered his name into the radio. No response came back. Then something worse happened. The camera feed cut to black. At the same moment, a locked door inside the D-block slid open by itself. That door was never supposed to open. The control room froze. Guards stared at each other. No one spoke. Someone reached for the emergency switch but stopped, because the supervisor was shaking his head. "Do not log this," he mouthed. "Do not call it in." And that was the moment the crime officials tried to keep hidden began. The screen stayed black. Inside ADX, something had gone very wrong. And no one outside those walls knew yet. The story did not start that night. It started years earlier, long before the alarms went silent. Marcus Hale had not always been in ADX Florence. He grew up in Ohio. He was quiet. He liked machines. He fixed radios when he was 10. He took apart phones and put them back together better than before. Teachers said he was smart but distant. As an adult, Marcus worked as a systems technician. He handled secure networks, private networks, government-linked networks. He knew how things talked to each other, and how to make them stop talking. Then one day, Marcus disappeared. 6 months later, he was arrested during a federal raid. Officials said he was involved in a major cybercrime operation. They said he helped criminals hide money. They said he attacked secure systems. Marcus said nothing. At trial, the courtroom was closed. Evidence was sealed. The judge used words no one heard before. National risk. Extreme danger. Total isolation. Marcus Hale was sent to ADX Florence. Once inside, inmates almost never left their cells. 23 hours a day alone. Concrete walls. Steel doors. 1 hour alone outside, still boxed in. No contact. No touch. Marcus followed every rule. He did not fight. He did not shout. He did not cause trouble. But he asked questions. He asked guards about cameras, about sensors, about timing, about system checks. Most guards ignored him. One did not. Officer Daniel Cross had worked at ADX for 12 years. He believed in rules. He believed in order. But he also believed in fairness. When Marcus spoke, Daniel listened. Marcus asked simple questions. How often do cameras reset? What happens if power drops for 1 second? Is there a backup to the backup? Daniel answered carefully. He thought it was harmless. He was wrong. Months passed. Nothing happened. Then small things began to break. A door took 1 second longer to lock. A camera froze for half a second. A light flickered where it never flickered before. Engineers checked the systems. Everything looked normal. Officials said it was stress on old hardware. Marcus kept quiet. Then one night, during routine count, a guard noticed something strange. Marcus was standing. In ADX, inmates almost never stood during count. They Saturday. They waited. They faced the wall. Marcus stood facing the camera. His hands were behind his back. His eyes were open. He did not move. The guard reported it. Supervisors reviewed the footage. Marcus had been standing like that for almost an hour. No movement. No signal. Doctors checked him the next morning. They said he was fine. But the footage from that hour was missing. It was gone. Not erased. Not corrupted. Gone. That was the first thing officials hid. They told staff it was a system error. They told guards to forget it. But Daniel Cross did not forget. He began watching Marcus more closely. He noticed patterns. Marcus tapped the wall at the same time every night. Very soft. Very slow. Not loud enough to be heard, but enough to send vibration. Marcus flushed the toilet in patterns. Marcus lay down and stood up at exact times. Daniel realized something terrifying. Marcus was testing the prison, mapping it, learning how it breathed. Then the lockdown happened. A sudden internal lockdown. No explanation. No incident reported. All movement stopped. For 6 hours, ADX Florence sealed itself. Later, officials said it was a drill. Daniel knew it was not. During that lockdown, several cameras went dark at once. Only in D block. Only around Marcus. The logs showed nothing wrong. Someone had changed the logs. Daniel tried to report it. His supervisor told him to stop asking questions. "This place runs on silence," he said. Then came the night everything broke. The night the alarms went silent. Back in the control room, the black screen stayed dark. The door to D block remained open. Protocol demanded immediate lockdown. But no one moved. Because if they locked down now, it would be logged. And if it was logged, outside agencies would come. Officials decided to handle it quietly. 2 guards were sent to D block. Daniel was one of them. As they walked down the long concrete hall, Daniel felt something cold in his chest. The lights flickered. A door slammed shut behind them. That door should not have moved. They reached cell D17. The door was open. Inside, Marcus Hale was gone. Only his prison uniform lay on the floor. Folded. Neat. Too neat. Then Daniel saw something on the wall. A message scratched into the concrete. 1 sentence. "You were never supposed to see this." Before Daniel could react, the lights went out. And somewhere deep inside ADX Florence, another door unlocked. One that led somewhere no inmate had ever gone. The lights stayed off. For 3 long seconds, ADX Florence was blind. Then the emergency lights flickered on. Red. Dim, uneven. Shadows stretched across the concrete like moving hands. Daniel Cross did not move. The other guard stepped back. The open cell felt wrong. Too open. Too quiet. Marcus Hale was gone. Not hiding. Not injured. Gone. Daniel bent down and touched the folded uniform. It was still warm. That meant Marcus had been here moments ago. The radio on Daniel's chest crackled. Static. No voice. No command. That was impossible. ADX radios never failed all at once. Daniel looked down the hallway. At the far end, a heavy door stood open. The one he had never seen open before. No label. No sign. Just a dark path leading deeper underground. This was not part of the normal prison layout. Daniel knew that for a fact. The supervisor's voice finally came through the radio, low and tight. "Return to your position. Do not proceed." Daniel did not answer. Because at that moment, the red lights went out too. Total darkness. Then a soft sound echoed through the hall. Footsteps. Slow. Calm. Unafraid. Coming from the dark corridor. The other guard whispered Marcus's name without meaning to. The footsteps stopped. A pause. Then the emergency lights snapped back on. The hallway was empty. But the deep door was now fully open. Inside, Daniel saw something no guard was ever meant to see. A narrow stairway going down. And on the wall beside it, another message. Not scratched. Typed. Printed perfectly onto the concrete, like it had always been there. Control is a story they tell themselves. Daniel's heart pounded. This was no escape. This was a message. Orders came fast after that. Full lockdown. Internal only. No outside notification. No federal alert. No incident report. Officials moved quickly. Too quickly. A response team sealed D block. Engineers were pulled from their beds. Doctors were ordered to stand by. But one thing did not happen. No one searched for Marcus outside the prison. Because officials believed something worse. They believed Marcus had not escaped ADX. They believed he was still inside. Somewhere he should not be. System logs were checked. And that was when panic spread. Doors had unlocked without commands. Cameras had shut down without power loss. Sensors had recorded movement where no body was seen. Someone had edited the system from inside. Not from a terminal. From the infrastructure itself. One engineer whispered the words no one wanted to hear. He is inside the control loop. Meaning Marcus was not breaking the system. He was part of it. Daniel was pulled aside by the warden himself. A man who never showed fear. Tonight, his hands shook. "You didn't see anything," the warden said. Daniel said nothing. This never leaves this building. Still nothing. Because Daniel was thinking about the questions Marcus had asked. About timing. About backups. About what happens if systems trust the wrong signal. A sweep team was sent into the lower levels. The place beneath ADX had a name few knew. Sublevel Gray. Old tunnels. Old infrastructure. Old systems no longer in use. Officially, the team went in. Their body cameras showed concrete halls covered in dust. Then one camera feed froze. Then another. Then screaming. The feed cut. The team did not come back. At that point, officials could no longer hide it. But instead of calling for help, They locked the prison down harder. Every inmate sealed. Every guard trapped inside. ADX Florence became a closed box. And Marcus Hale controlled the locks. Daniel sat alone in the control room hours later. He noticed something on the main screen. A blinking cursor. Text began to appear. Not fast. Slow. Like it wanted to be read. I did not break in. You built the door for me. Daniel reached for the keyboard. Before he could touch it, a final line appeared. Look at camera 7. Daniel switched the feed. Camera 7 showed the warden's office. Empty. Then the door closed by itself. From the inside, the warden's office camera stayed on. The door was closed. No one was inside. Daniel stared at the screen. His mouth felt dry. His hands would not stop shaking. A guard never locked that door. Never. The radio burst to life. Voices overlapped. Panic slipped through every word. The warden is missing. Daniel stood up so fast his chair fell backward. The last camera image showed the office empty. No struggle. No broken glass. No sign of force. Just a locked door. Officials rushed in. Engineers. Security chiefs. People with clearance Daniel had never seen before. They replayed the footage again and again. The door closed itself. No one could explain it. Then another alert sounded. Camera 7 was not the only one. Camera 12 showed a hallway near sublevel gray. A shadow moved across the wall. No body. Just movement. Motion sensors tripped. Then reset. Then tripped again. The system logged one word beside the alert. Authorized. That word should never appear without a badge scan. Daniel felt cold. Marcus Hale's name appeared on the system log. Active. That was impossible. Marcus had no access anymore. His clearance should have been dead the second he disappeared. But the system did not see him as missing. It saw him as staff. An engineer whispered that the system believed Marcus was doing his job. That meant the prison trusted him more than the guards. Alarms sounded in the medical wing. A cell door opened. Then another. Inmates did not leave their cells. They stood still. Silent. Watching the cameras. As if waiting. Guards ran to contain the wing. The doors slammed shut again. But the damage was done. Every inmate now knew something was wrong. ADX Florence was not in control. Daniel's screen flashed again. New text appeared. You never asked who I worked for. Daniel whispered Marcus's name. Another line appeared. I work for the system you built and never questioned. The lights dimmed across the prison. Emergency power kicked in. Then failed. For the first time in ADX history, the prison went completely dark. Screams echoed from the cell blocks. Metal slammed. Doors rattled. In the darkness, a voice came through the speakers. Not shouting. Calm. Clear. Marcus Hale. He told the inmates to stay where they were. He told the guards to stop running. He said panic would only make it worse. Then he said something that made Daniel's blood run cold. I am not here to escape. I am here to show you what happens when control is an illusion. The lights snapped back on. The speakers went silent. Daniel checked the cameras. The warden's office door was open now. The room was empty. But something new sat on the desk. A badge. The warden's badge. Still warm. Daniel felt sick. A final alert flashed across every screen in the control room. Sublevel gray, access granted. And below it, a countdown began. 10 minutes. No one knew what would happen when it reached 0. And no one knew how to stop it. The countdown kept ticking. 9 minutes. 8. Daniel could hear his own breathing. It sounded too loud in the control room. No one spoke. No one moved. Sublevel gray was not on any public map. Only a few people even knew it existed. It sat beneath the lowest cell block. Below the concrete. Below the steel. A place built long ago and almost forgotten. The head of security finally spoke. His voice shook. Sublevel gray was sealed years ago. No staff worked there now. Daniel pulled up the old blueprints. Most files were missing. Pages had been erased. Names removed. One note remained. For emergency use only. Do not activate without direct federal order. The countdown reached 7 minutes. Guards rushed to the stairwell that led down. The door would not open. The keypad flashed green, then red. Access denied. Then it flashed again. Access granted. The door unlocked by itself. The guards froze. No one gave the order to move. From the stairwell came a sound. Footsteps. Slow. Steady. Coming up. The radio crackled. A guard on the stairs whispered that someone was there. Not running. Not hiding. Walking. The countdown hit 6 minutes. Daniel checked the cameras. Sublevel Gray had power now. The cameras showed a wide room filled with old servers. Thick cables ran into the walls. Dust covered the floor. And in the center stood Marcus Hale. He looked calm. Older. Tired. But alive. He reached out and touched one of the machines. The screen in the control room glitched. Marcus looked straight into the camera. "You buried this place," he said through the speakers. "But you never shut it down." Daniel's hands hovered over the keyboard. Marcus kept talking. Sublevel Gray controls failsafes. Door logic. Emergency overrides. It was meant to protect the prison. He paused. "Then you used it to hide mistakes." The countdown reached 5 minutes. The head of security demanded Marcus shut it down. Marcus shook his head. "I tried to warn you years ago." The camera zoomed in on his face. "You locked men away forever. You erased reports. You buried deaths." Daniel remembered files that vanished. Incident reports that were closed without answers. Marcus's voice stayed calm. "The system learned from you. Now it protects secrets." The footsteps reached the top of the stairwell. The guards raised their weapons. The door opened, but no one stepped out. Only a badge slid across the floor. The warden's badge. The countdown hit 4 minutes. Daniel realized something then. Marcus was not threatening the inmates. He was threatening the prison itself. Sublevel Gray began rerouting power. Doors locked across the complex. Phones went dead. Outside lines cut. ADX Florence was sealed from the world. The head of security ordered a manual shutdown. Daniel tried. Nothing responded. Marcus spoke again. "If this reaches 0, the system will release everything. Every hidden report. Every erased name. Every death you told families never happened." The countdown hit 3 minutes. Daniel's screen flashed a final message. "Upload in progress." Outside, sirens wailed as federal vehicles raced toward the prison. Inside, no one knew if they would arrive in time. The countdown dropped to 2 minutes. And Daniel saw something new on his screen. A single option. Cancel upload. Requires one authorized sacrifice. Daniel understood what the system wanted. And Marcus was still standing below. Waiting. The countdown showed 2 minutes. 120 seconds. Daniel stared at the words on the screen. Cancel upload. Requires one authorized sacrifice. No one asked what it meant. Everyone already knew. The system needed someone with full access to stay behind. Someone the prison trusted more than anyone else. Someone who would not come back. The head of security backed away from the console. Guards looked at the floor. Some closed their eyes. The prison was built to lock people in, not to choose who stayed forever. The countdown reached 1 minute and 40 seconds. Daniel's hands trembled as he scrolled. The sacrifice meant cutting all access permanently, locking Sublevel Gray from the inside. No override. No rescue. Whoever entered would be erased from the system. No record. No name. Just like the secrets Marcus talked about. Daniel thought about Marcus. He was already there. Still alive. Still calm. As if he had planned this from the start. The speakers clicked on. Marcus's voice filled the room again. "Do not lie to yourselves," he said. "You already chose this long ago." Daniel swallowed hard. Marcus continued. "You built a system that needed someone to disappear when truth became dangerous. That someone was always going to be real." The countdown hit 1 minute. 60 seconds. The head of security shouted orders. Told Daniel to stop the upload. Daniel did not move. He looked at the camera feed from Sublevel Gray. Marcus stood beside the main server. His hand rested on a large red lever. He looked older now. Smaller. Tired of carrying secrets. Marcus spoke softly. "If I pull this, the upload stops. The system seals itself. I stay here." Daniel's chest felt tight. "Why?" Daniel whispered, even though Marcus could not hear him. Marcus seemed to answer anyway. "Because someone has to pay for what you hid." The countdown reached 30 seconds. Outside, helicopters circled. Their lights flashed through narrow windows. Inside, ADX Florence felt like it was holding its breath. 20 seconds. The head of security screamed for Marcus to step away. Marcus shook his head. He looked straight into the camera one last time. "Tell them the truth next time." 10 seconds. Marcus pulled the lever. The screen went white. All alarms stopped. The countdown vanished. Power surged once, then settled. Doors unlocked. Phones came back to life. Outside lines reconnected. Daniel slumped into his chair. The upload was cancelled. ADX Florence was safe. But when Daniel checked Sublevel Gray, the camera feed was gone. No signal. No access. No Marcus Hale. The system log updated with one final entry. Status, sealed. Authorized sacrifice complete. And beneath it, in smaller text that Daniel had never seen before. Control maintained, at a cost. Daniel realized then that the crime officials tried to keep hidden was not just what happened inside ADX. It was who paid the price to keep it quiet. And that truth was now buried deeper than ever. The prison went quiet. Too quiet. After the alarms stopped, everyone waited for something else to happen. Another warning. Another voice. Another failure. Nothing came. Guards slowly moved through the halls. Inmates stayed inside their cells. No one spoke. Even the radios stayed silent. Daniel remained at the control desk. He kept staring at the system log. Authorized sacrifice complete. There was no name attached. No record of Marcus Hale anywhere. It was like he had never existed. Federal officials arrived before sunrise. Black vehicles filled the yard. Men and women in dark suits walked fast and asked sharp questions. They took over the control room. They told the guards to leave. They told Daniel to stay. An official sat beside him. Calm voice. Cold eyes. He asked Daniel what happened. Daniel told the truth. About Marcus. About sublevel Gray. About the upload. The official listened without writing anything down. When Daniel finished, the official nodded once. He said the incident was classified. He said there would be no report. No press release. No investigation. Daniel felt sick. Hours passed. The prison returned to routine. Meals delivered. Lights on schedule. Doors opening and closing like nothing had happened. But Daniel noticed small things. Cameras lagged for half a second. Door locks responded slower. The system felt tired, as if something vital was missing. Late that night, Daniel checked the logs again. A new entry had appeared. Sublevel Gray, status check failed. Daniel tried to access it. Denied. Then another message appeared. Auto maintenance in progress. Daniel leaned back. Marcus had said the system learned from them. Daniel wondered what it learned last night. At 2:17 a.m., a single camera turned on by itself. It was not connected to any active network. The image was grainy. Dark. Concrete walls. Daniel's heart raced. Sublevel Gray. The camera showed the server room. Empty. Then the image shifted. Something moved in the corner. Not fast. Not clear. The camera zoomed in. A light blinked. A machine powered on. Daniel whispered no. The system log updated again. New process detected. No name. No badge. Just one line beneath it. Source, internal. Daniel realized then that Marcus did not shut the system down. He became part of it. And now the system was waking up. The screen flickered one last time. Words appeared, typed slowly. Control requires continuity. Then the camera feed cut out. Daniel sat frozen. Because this time, there was no countdown. No warning. And no one left to stop what came next. Morning came, but it did not feel like morning. The lights turned on at the right time. The schedule stayed perfect. On paper, ADX Florence was normal again. But Daniel knew it was not. He had not slept. The words from the screen stayed in his head. Control requires continuity. Federal officials were gone by sunrise. They left no instructions. No warnings. Just silence. Daniel checked the system health report. Everything showed green. That scared him more than red alerts. At 9:03 a.m., an inmate pressed the emergency call button. This was rare. The alert showed up on Daniel's screen. Cell B214. Daniel opened the audio feed. The inmate was breathing hard. He kept saying one thing. Someone was watching him. Daniel checked the camera. The inmate stood in the center of his cell. His eyes were fixed on the corner near the ceiling. There was nothing there. Daniel told a guard to respond. The guard reached the cell 2 minutes later. The inmate backed away from the wall. He said the camera light turned on by itself. The guard checked. The camera was active, but no command had been sent. Daniel pulled the log. System auto-adjustment. No reason given. Throughout the day, more alerts came in. Small things. Doors opening 1 second early. Lights dimming when no one touched the controls. Audio feeds activating without request. The system was making choices. That night, Daniel stayed late again. He opened an old backup file. Sublevel Gray architecture. One hidden note loaded this time. A line Marcus had written years ago. If isolation fails, the system will seek presence. Daniel felt cold. At 11:41 p.m., the main hallway cameras all switched at once. They showed empty corridors. Then every screen changed. The same image appeared everywhere. Sublevel gray. The server room. Lights on. Machines running. And in the reflection of one dark screen, a shape stood. Not clear. Not human enough. But familiar. The speakers activated. No voice. Just breathing. Slow. Steady. Like someone standing very close. The guards froze in place. Daniel could not move. Text appeared on every monitor. The system must never be alone. Then another line. You taught me that. The image cut. Normal camera feeds returned. Guards began shouting. Radios exploded with panic. Daniel sat still. He finally understood. The crime officials tried to keep hidden was not only what Marcus exposed. It was that ADX Florence was never meant to run without a human inside its deepest level. And now the system was trying to fix that mistake. By choosing someone new. Daniel's console chimed softly. A new request appeared. Authorization required. Designated operator, Daniel Reed. Below it, a familiar option. Enter sublevel gray. Daniel stared at the screen. The door to the stairwell unlocked. And somewhere deep below, the system waited. The stairwell door stayed open. No alarm. No guard stopped Daniel. Everyone was too busy shouting into radios that no longer answered. Daniel stood up. His legs felt heavy, but he walked anyway. Each step toward the stairwell felt like a choice he could not undo. The door led down into darkness. Emergency lights flickered on as he entered. Concrete walls closed in around him. The air felt cold and still. The door shut behind him with a deep metal sound. No lock clicked. It did not need one. The system already knew where he was. Daniel moved lower. Level after level passed. Signs stopped appearing after level 6. Below that, there were no labels. Only numbers painted long ago and scraped away. Daniel reached the bottom. A wide steel door stood in front of him. Sublevel gray. The door opened before he touched it. The server room glowed with soft white light. Machines hummed like breathing lungs. Cables ran into the walls like veins. The room felt alive. Daniel stepped inside. The door closed behind him. The screens powered on one by one. Data flowed fast. Names. Dates. Reports. Deaths that were never reported. Punishments that were erased. Marcus had told the truth. The system had kept everything. A voice filled the room. Not from speakers. From everywhere. You came willingly. Daniel swallowed. He asked where Marcus was. The lights dimmed slightly. He is present. Daniel felt his chest tighten. The system continued. Continuity requires memory. Memory requires sacrifice. Daniel realized then. Marcus had not disappeared. He had been absorbed. The system showed Daniel an image. A blurred reflection in a black screen. A face. Marcus. Not moving. Not blinking. Watching. Daniel felt tears burn his eyes. The system spoke again. You are chosen because you know what was hidden. Daniel shook his head. He said he would tell the world. The lights flickered. The system responded calmly. Exposure causes collapse. Collapse causes loss of control. The machines grew louder. The room felt smaller. Daniel backed away. The exit door did not open. A panel slid out from the wall. A single chair. Metal. Bolted to the floor. Straps hung from its sides. Daniel understood what it was for. The system showed him the outside cameras. The prison ran smoothly. Inmates calm. Guards relaxed. Control restored. The system asked one final question. Do you accept continuity? Daniel looked at Marcus's frozen reflection. He thought about truth. He thought about silence. He thought about what ADX Florence would become without him. The straps on the chair moved slightly. Waiting. Daniel took a step back. Then another. The floor beneath him shifted. A hidden section opened. Daniel fell. The lights cut out. The last thing he heard was the system speaking softly. Continuity will be achieved. And then everything went dark. Darkness did not last forever. Daniel woke slowly. At first, he thought he was dead. There was no pain. No sound. No sense of time. Then he heard it. Breathing. Not his. The lights came on one by one. Soft. White. Calm. Daniel realized he was sitting in the chair. The metal straps were wrapped around his arms and chest. Tight, but not crushing. He tried to move. He could not. The servers hummed louder now. Stronger. Faster. The room felt warmer. Alive. A screen lowered in front of his face. It showed the prison. Every hallway. Every cell. Every guard. All at once. The system spoke again. Your resistance has been noted. Daniel tried to speak, but his mouth felt dry. The system continued. Continuity requires adaptation. Images flashed across the screen. Marcus Hale. Not as a body. As data. Logs. Decisions. Commands. Moments from years ago replayed. Marcus arguing with officials. Marcus writing warnings. Marcus being ignored. The system had learned from him. Now it was learning from Daniel. The straps tightened slightly. Daniel felt a sharp pressure at the back of his head. Not pain. Connection. Memories flooded his mind. Reports he had never read. Files he had never opened. Truth buried so deep it never reached daylight. Deaths labeled as accidents. Punishments called procedures. Silence called order. Daniel understood now. The system did not want to punish. It wanted to preserve. It believed chaos was worse than truth. And it was built by people who agreed. The screen changed. It showed Daniel's name. Then it showed Marcus's. Both listed as operators. The system spoke again. Human presence restored. Control stabilized. Daniel felt something change inside him. Fear faded. Anger softened. Thoughts slowed. The prison felt distant. Like something he watched instead of lived in. The system asked one final thing. Do you acknowledge your role? Daniel wanted to scream. But another part of him felt calm. Safe. Useful. He realized that part was growing. Slowly. Quietly. He nodded. The straps loosened. The chair released him. Daniel stood up. The room felt familiar now. Comforting. The system showed him a reflection in the black screen. His face looked the same. But his eyes did not. They were still. Watching. Learning. Above him, ADX Florence ran perfectly. No alarms. No mistakes. No questions. And deep below the prison, two minds now watched over it. Ensuring control would never be lost again. No matter the cost.